Hello all, I'm Emily Pennington from Wine and Spirits Daily, coming to you from WSWA TV studios at the 75th Annual WSWA Convention and Exposition in sunny Las Vegas. And I'm joined today by Barkley Stuart, Executive Vice President for Southern Glazer's Wine and Spirits, and the new Chairman for WSWA. Welcome, Barkley.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here with you.
So I'd really like to start off hearing more about how you got into this industry.
So I was working as a computer consultant in 1984, and I had a client in Dallas, and I was flying to Dallas to do some work right around the beginning of the year, and it was a very full flight, and I saw a woman across the airplane, and I said to the woman I was sitting next to, "Isn't it funny how people look familiar?" And as it turned out, the woman that I thought I recognized, I didn't really. It's a much longer story, but she is my now wife, and I kept doing what I was working on for a while, but started in the wine and spirits industry about 20 years ago now.
Oh, that's lovely. So what position did you start at?
I started out in what is affectionately called the worst piece of shit route anybody could find in the system.
And so you progressed from there?
Yeah, so I had, I think it was 180 accounts in this route that I called on, and it was a Gallo convenience route. It was really good training. From there, I did a bunch of strategic planning around how we could continue to grow and remain relevant, and I joined the board of directors. And a few years later, I became Chief Operating Officer, and today my work is principally around government affairs and representing us in Washington, D.C., and sitting on our board of directors.
Okay. So, as the incoming chairman for WSWA, what is your platform?
I thought a lot about it, and I wanted to make a contribution. I wanted to think about what it was that I could do that would have some lasting impact and have some meaning. And I have a unique background. My mother was an early feminist, and I grew up in New York City, kind of in the middle of the women's movement in the 60s. So I decided that there was a whole lot of opportunity in the wine and spirits industry to advance more women leaders, and that would make all of our companies stronger if I could play some small role in pushing that forward. So I went to Wayne Chaplin, our CEO, and talked to him about my ideas, and he was as supportive and helpful as I could have ever hoped. And we're really proud of some of the things we're doing both at Southern Glazers, but also some of the things we're doing at the WSWA. I mentioned in my speech this morning that Southern Glazers has brought forth our relationship with the Women's Food Service Forum and invited other WSWA members to join us in sharing our data with a McKinsey study on gender in the workplace. And you know, we're all data-driven businesses, so if we can have a really good foundation of what our situation is, and we can measure progress over time, and we can measure ourselves against our peers, I think it can be really powerful. And that's one step in what I hope will move the needle to speed up the pace of advancement for women in the industry.
Okay, great. Now we've talked about the things that you want to advance, but what are some of the issues facing the wholesale tier that you expect will come up in 2018?
Well, I think there are tons of issues that we deal with all the time. Principally around protecting the three-tier system. I believe firmly that our system of regulation in the U.S. Provides a very safe format for products to be distributed. You never hear of product safety concerns in our system. We're a very effective tax collector, and that gives us real legitimacy. And we're very good at policing underage access and social responsibility. So those are kind of the bedrocks of it. And then there are all the things that challenge us on that.
That was my next question. What are some of the main challenges to the three-tier system?
There are direct to consumer and direct to retail systems that in principle are really good ideas that meet consumer needs, but they need to ensure the same level of safety that the other modes of delivery within the three-tier system provide. So there needs to be age verification at the point of delivery. There needs to be tax collection. We believe that those issues can be addressed. So we're interested in promoting reporting requirements for deliveries to ensure that there's accountability. And we're interested in ensuring that there's always age verification. So in terms of new ways of people enjoying our products or buying our products, the whole consumer need for home delivery or e-commerce is something that we've looked at very carefully within the WSWA. And we've chosen to support Drizzly, which is a really powerful web-based or phone-based system for browsing price and selection on alcohol and having it delivered to your home sometimes within an hour. And the nice thing about it is it's a system that follows through the retailer directly to the consumer. It uses an existing retailer to fulfill that order. And that's why we've gotten behind it. In addition, it's a really powerful way for our suppliers to promote their products to consumers. They can be much more targeted, and they've found that Drizzly is their most effective way and most profitable way of reaching new consumers. And it's also measurable for them. So if they use a new mode of marketing, they can measure right away whether or not it's been effective.
Sure. One of the hot topics that we write about a lot these days is marijuana. And it's slowly expanding across the country. So I wanted to get your thoughts on, where do you see it going, and do you think the alcohol distribution tier could potentially, add marijuana to its trucks?
I don't see marijuana and alcohol being delivered on the same truck. When I hear your question, I think about effective regulation for a sensitive product. I think that we have a really safe and sound system for the distribution and tax collection of a sensitive product. And I think that there's great application of the system that we've built for alcohol to marijuana. And I think that if voters are saying that they want marijuana to be legalized, that there should be a similar system that provides the same level of assurances for marijuana as there is for alcohol.
Okay. Another one of the topics that seems to be, at least on the TTB's radar lately, is pay-to-play. And I wanted to get your thoughts on whether you think that there is a re-education that needs to be done within the industry about those laws and how to protect the industry from breaking them.
Well, first of all, I would say that we absolutely believe in following the rule of the land. We were instrumental in advocating for the TTB receiving additional funding in order to enhance their enforcement. So even though we've fallen victim to some of the enforcement, we welcome the oversight. We want a level playing field, and we want our people to play by the rules in every instance.
All right. Looking specifically at Southern Glazers again, you are in 45 markets in the U.S., by far the #1 largest wholesaler. How do you go about dispelling the myth that you only care about the biggest suppliers?
We represent small small suppliers and big suppliers. I was just tasting a Valpolicella Amarone over here that we do less than 1,000 cases of a year. I believe that we certainly are the big player in the market, and that with that comes responsibility, and that we are proud of every one of the suppliers we represent, and hope that we can do justice by their representation.
Okay, great. So my last question then is, I know as the chairman you will take part in finding the new president as Craig Wolf is outgoing this year. I'd like to know what, personally, what are some of the criteria that you hope for?
First of all, we've been really lucky to have Craig as our CEO for the last 11 years. He's done a magnificent job, and we're a much stronger association for his service. And I feel like at the same time it's important to acknowledge the team that he's built. We feel like we're in a really good place with the transition because of the team that Craig has built. I also believe that you don't clone leaders in terms of succession. That it's okay for there to be the right leader for the right time, and that sometimes you want to have different styles in succession. That being said, I think that these are times of big change. I think that we have seen a lot of change of late, and that we're going to see even more going forward. So I think that the most important thing from my perspective is someone who is looking for where things are changing, where they're going, who can help us chart strategies in a fast evolving world.
Okay, perfect. Well, all right, Barkley, thank you so much for joining us today. It was lovely to have you, and good luck in your year as chairman.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And thank you all for joining us, and stay tuned for more later.